Dentistry has been start to change 2020, which is right exactly the time of the pandemic. If you're asking me why, I'm also surprised because when I heard the pandemic all over the world, someone comes to me and tell me like the world will be locked down in 3 months for all the industries, all the services will be locked down for 3 months. I would say like, no jokes please, like I wouldn't believe that. And also as a clinician and as a dentist, when I heard that pandemic started, it was in March exactly. During this time I spend my time for my researches and I write articles, I read a lot of articles about dentistry, and I was just thinking like, I thought after pandemic the patient will not go dentist for a while for cosmetic concerns. And I never forget, end of the May, when pandemic started to slowly over, I had the most busiest season and I was shocked. I was thinking exactly after pandemic people will not require aesthetic works. Mostly they will use dentists like emergency cases. And it happened exactly the reverse. For example, I had the busiest season, 2020 summer, I had the busiest summer. Then I realized when people spend time at home with the mirrors, let's say, especially, and also they had time to research and spend more time on social media, they wanted to beautify their smile. And because of this reason, the inquiries on aesthetic file, let's say, not only in dentistry, also as plastic surgeons for hair transplantation, and a lot of topics, a lot of sections on aesthetic industry is increased. And when I was doing researches about dentistry during this time, I realized not only in dentistry, the world is going to be a digital world. It was like a revolution. That's what I believe, this pandemic. With this lockdown, people get ready to get used to digital life. I give you example, my father. Maybe 20 times I explained him about the Netflix, and I was asking him like, why you are not watching these documentaries on Netflix? And he was telling me like, because I don't know how to use. And when he come to my home and I was watching documentary, he's telling me like, oh wow, very interesting documentary. How can I find it? I said Netflix. And in the pandemic, he started to learn how to use Netflix, and he was able to watch documentaries, movies, and a lot of series by himself. When I asked him, how did you manage it? He said like, because it was mandatory, like, so I have to, because he had a lot of time at home, so he need to figure out somehow. For this reason, now dentistry is going to be digital, like also in the world. Now we try to make our works in the shorter time and better efficiency. I still not on the side of digital because I love hand masterworks, and in my clinic I'm working hand masterworks, but handworks always costs more and also takes more time to produce. But this way, what we produce has a soul. That's what I believe, like an art. Imagine robots making an art. It doesn't give you feeling of the something handmade, because even the mistakes, even some artifacts makes art beautiful. Also in our work, it's the same, because our dentistry is a kind of art. But in some cases, for example, I like to use digital dentistry, but most of my cases, I like to go analog way. Probably I like old school things also. I'm a vintage person, let's say. Dentistry is going to be, from patient side, is aesthetic and cosmetically increased. On the dentist and doctor's side, is more increasing digitally way. When patients' demands are required, our clinics gets busier and busier. For this reason, we need to increase our capability for the produce our works. And also we shouldn't forget one thing, when we are producing in short time, we always have to make the better efficiency. What I mean is the quality has to be always better quality, but if we are decreasing the time and having better quality, I would accept this technology. But if it's opposite, when we are shortening the time and the quality is lower, I don't accept those kind of innovations, to be honest. Also, like all departments of dentistry, like let's say endodontic treatment, which is root canal treatments, conservative treatments, for veneers, when digital technologies are upgrading, and also new materials also coming up. Because on veneers, for example, let's say, most of the requires are like aesthetic. When we are achieving aesthetic results, patient demanding a natural works. Even if it's white, it has to be natural. With these new materials, we like to have always the natural results and also in the same time better quality and increase the quality of the material, which is mechanic and also as functional properties of the materials. Well, for example, for what I believe in dentistry, we are going to be more minimal invasive dentistry, which is like less is more concept. Less you invade, more you have profit. Also, for example, for endodontics, for surgeries, for aesthetic rehabilitations. Now, people have idea about dentistry because they are surfing on the internet, also in the social media. There's a vlogs. People are explaining their treatment process and about their treatment information. That's why they have knowledge about the process, the material even. Today, patients coming to my clinic and asking me, for example, I want minimal invasive veneers, or I want no prep veneers, and they are telling me like, I'm nominated for no prep veneers. I said, how do you know like you're nominated for no prep veneers? They say like, I have aligned teeth, and that's a bit scary for dentists. But on the other hand, that's nice. So patients also can see the skills of the dentists between them. They can compare between them. What makes digital dentistry is nicer, you have always data, information of patients. They never get lost. For example, when we write on the paper something, if it gets lost, you cannot find it. But if it's digitally achieved and if we are keeping it digitally, we have always the information and data, so we can also observe the process by digital dentistry. And also with digital dentistry, for example, when we make smile makeover, we can show on the computer or in iPad to patients, and also we can explain them what's going to be happen and what we're gonna do. And also people be aware of the mouth and oral health, because most of the people before, they wouldn't care the oral health care, but now I realize a lot of people with this pandemic and the COVID virus, they start to take care of their mouth better than before because they're afraid of the illnesses and a lot of sickness. Due to this reason, they do brushing and flossing better. Even some people are start to use intraoral mouth rinses and so on. I'm afraid of robots actually, because I'm always on the side of human hand master crafting. I was reading article, even in dentistry this year, they made a robot, imagine a robot making a dental implant to patients hands-free. So this technology was crazy, but of course still need to be upgraded. But imagine like in the future you go to dentist, you don't see the dentist, you're having done the treatments by the robots. Actually, I think this can be possible in maybe 100 years or 200 years because technology is developing crazy and like very fast, faster than before. But of course, like imagine, as a patient, I would like to ask you, would you like to have treatment by robots or for human? Human can feel you, but robot will never feel you. What is also still trend, it's been trend maybe for last decade, stem cell technologies. Stem cells, we're trying to repair damaged tooth structures by itself and also the soft tissues. What I mean, for example, let's say you have a recession on your gum. Normally for this operation, we take a gum from your upper palate and we patch right over there the area of the recession. But with stem cells, in the future, we don't need to make those kind of surgeries. We apply the stem cells right over there, or in the laboratories, we can make connective tissue grafting out of the body and then we directly replace there. This is also another trend in dentistry. I hope in the future we will be able to produce better qualities and less time consuming works by digital dentistry. But we shouldn't forget also, digital is nice one hand, but on the other hand, a lot of people will lose their jobs. For example, let's say the ceramists or the dental technicians. So if we are able to do everything with the robots and digitally, we will not need those kind of masters. It means that these people will be out of money and they have families, they have responsibilities. So that's why I'm not also the big fan of digitalism in the world for the future, because we need humans all the time. We need each other. That's why going to be digitalism has to be limits, I think. And also, nothing can be precise as much as human hand, because we have a sense of our humor with our hands, with our mind, and with our hearts. That's why we say, work with your hands, think with your mind, and passion with your heart.